One of them is a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1999 to provide for the establishment of state police and local government police. That's number one. Number two is an amendment to the laws establishing the general elections in Nigeria, that the elections into the office of the president, state governors, national assembly, state houses of assembly, and local government area councils be conducted simultaneously on the same day to be determined by INEC. Many of them, and one of them, very controversial, was stepped down yesterday. That is for the removal of immunity for the vice president, the governors, and the deputies. 2 days ago we had it, but yesterday that bill was stepped down. Dr. Kachananuju, the Constitution Amendment Committee, working with. All right. We'll try to have Dr. Kaj Lent. We will reestablish connection with him again. But then, so many things to really talk about here, Daniel, and a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to make provision for the Chief Justice of Niger to make proclamation on, Nigeria rather, to make the proclamation on the inauguration of the National Assembly, from your end there.
Quite a lot. 39,
quite a lot.
39 bills, so a whole lot of them. And again, another one is that bill seeking to make an amendment that gubernatorial cases, should terminate at the appeal court. That's another big one there. A lot of people would say if these cases terminate at the appeal court, the Supreme Court so far has been the saving grace for a lot of gubernatorial candidates who have gone ahead to, still secure their mandate or claim their mandates at the Supreme Court. Now, if the appeal court becomes the terminal point, a lot of people would say it won't go down well with some section of this society.
Knowing fully well that we are back to that point, that many of the proponents of this bill, or many of those debating on this bill right now, at some point, would still want to be governor.
Absolutely.
Or they might want to be deputies.
So who knows? They may still step this down, just like they did, just like they rescinded their decision on the immunity case.
On the immunity issue, exactly. It's a lot. And then there is another bill about, about having a House of Assembly to establish the FCT House of Assembly, actually, because the FCT is under the administration, or it's exactly being handled. Some components of it are being handled by the federal government. We understand Dr. Kach is back. Doctor, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, thank you very much. A quick one about the Constitutional Amendment Committee. They have been working, and the matter has been discussed at the plenary. For the past 2 days, Benjamin Kalu has been sitting on that, and he's one of those persons heading that committee. And they have made some proposals, and they are working on it, about having all the elective positions, the election into all the elective positions done on one day. President, gubernatorial, House of Reps, Senate, local government, and to be handled by INEC, number one. Number two is another case of having a House of Assembly for the FCT, number two, 39 of them. Another is the termination of gubernatorial cases at the appeal court, quite controversial. And yesterday, very controversial is the decision or the amendment that was being sought, that immunity be removed from vice presidents, governors, and their deputies. What do you see about this constitutional amendment going on, and which one stands out for you?
For me, these are all suggestions until they become law. So I think I will want to say that we should not forget that we have been here before by the legislator. And some of us who are very skeptical about rhetorics like this, we will only be situated properly if we see these suggestions come to fruition. We have had this now going back for the past 24 years, and they will start the amendment processes, and then we do not see them come to conclusion. So I think I saw this during the time of President Goodluck Jonathan. I also saw this during the time of President Yar'Adua, and President Buhari. So, and we also, they didn't bring any conclusion. So until I see these things bring a final outcome, it will not be proper for me to actually waste my time commenting on them. What I will tell you is these are the normal charade. You saw the issues about creating states, new states, and creating new local governments. I believe certain things will be taken seriously when we really see honest moves built around consensus. That somebody makes a suggestion doesn't really mean you should take them seriously, because compare that to previous suggestions, you find out these things are not as easy as they seem. But all I can say is, yes, in the current era, in this day, yesterday, we have had noise that we are very familiar with, which have been made before now by other federal legislative sessions. You know, so there's nothing wrong with that. If the 10th Assembly makes the same thing that the 9th, the 8th, and the 6th and the 4th did, there's nothing new in that. So let's keep listening to what they're saying. That's all I will tell you.
All right, Dr. Ononiju. Now, one of these bills actually caught my attention. You know, before now we've been talking about local government autonomy, that local governments in Nigeria should be getting their funds directly. But one of the bills here, Dr. Ononiju, I'll quickly go through it. A bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 2004, to establish the National Local Government Electoral Commission as an independent body responsible for organizing, conducting, and supervising elections into the offices of chairmen and councillors of all local governments across the Federation, including the area councils of the Federal Capital Territory. Dr. Ononiju, if we have to have an autonomous local government system, this bill, how far do you think it will go? Because I see this as a very crucial bill. Are you of the opinion that there should be an electoral body, independent electoral body, to see to the conduction of elections in local government areas in Nigeria? Do you think this will really help the autonomy of local governments in Nigeria?
Yes, 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 it will help. We are fighting for, and we've been commenting on a need for the local governments to be autonomous, away from the control of the governors. And you can see the move by Mr. Fagbemi to the Supreme Court to secure that nuclear ruling, which allowed the autonomy of local governments to become real. But are they autonomous today? No, they are not. So if you're giving them financial autonomy, you also have to bring autonomy to the way they are elected. And making that a federal one, yes, will probably go away from what the charade was saying in the state to the governor. So I do support that. I am in agreement with that mindset. I believe that idea is ideal for our democracy. Achieving it is another thing, totally different from our dreaming it. But I believe it is in the wholesome interest of our democracy that the processes of election to the local government councils and areas, it's actually made to be free and fair. But then you cannot also make it free and fair by simply bringing it to the center. No, because there are quite a lot of elections conducted by the current INEC that you cannot say are free and fair. You see, you need to change the institutions. INEC federal cannot be said to be very honest in its conduct of elections. And that's why I made the remarks I made in regards to Rivers State. The events of suppression of voters' interest during the time that brought in Governor Fubara and in the period of the last general elections. That's why I said, so have we made honest attempts towards electoral reforms? I would say no. So until you really make honest attempts towards electoral reforms, I believe the rest of the rhetorics are just self-serving and they do not amount to what can actually force me to change emotions. I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right. And one of those bills again, and its implication is the amendment seeking to have gubernatorial cases, terminate at the appeal court. And one would say it was through sheer, maybe divine providence and luck that saved Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State in the tsunami that took off all the elected House of Assembly members because of an issue with PDP primaries, and they, at their own lot, decided at the appeal court level. But because Caleb Mutfwang had the opportunity to appeal and his case got to the Supreme Court, that was why it was saved. It would have been booted off as well. Now, the amendment is seeking that gubernatorial cases be terminated at the appeal court. And we need to look at the spirit and the intention behind that bill. Maybe it's because Milot as the Supreme Court are too busy, where I don't have enough, and then there are many cases. So why don't you have gubernatorial cases terminated at the appeal court? What's your take on that? Do you think it's the right call if it goes through?
It does not matter where cases terminate. What's most important is the strengthening of the institutions that we do use to do these adjudications. It doesn't matter where the cases terminate. What we need is state institutions that are strong. Right now, there is widespread complaint about the judiciary. So whether you put it at the Supreme Court, or you put it at the Court of Appeal, or the basic starting courts, if the judiciary is challenged, as we currently complain it is, it doesn't really matter. What we need is a holistic re-engineering of our institutions of state. And that's what I believe we need to do. It's just like the problem in the River State. We have had a proclamation. If you cannot reverse it, let us then find how we can make that proclamation work. And that's why, as I can see, I can tell you right now, the sole administrator and his protocols have been able to arrest the incidents of arson in River State. I can tell you River State is currently peaceful. And that's very good. And I will urge the sole administrator to move forward to try to find out those people who are non-state actors but gain protections from economic situations in the state. Look after them so that they do not go to the pipelines and undermine and break things. That is telling you there are people who, if you might treat Governor Fubara, they will go to the creeks and do some crazy things. But they don't work for Fubara. They are not under Fubara. There's a need for the governor for the administrator to move forward and get them to talk to them. I think I spoke to some of them privately yesterday, and I tried to hear from them. And from what I hear, they tell me River State is peaceful, but they would like the administrator to also have them in his thoughts. And I believe this is a very good thing. So for me, the principal problems in River State is the disagreements among the political gladiators. In this case, the caucuses that are with former Governor Wike, and the caucuses working with Governor Sim Fubara. So these are the things that at all time, people in charge of governance in all parts of Nigeria must do. Strengthening the institutions of state to be able to cater to the aspirations of the people. So if we strengthen the judiciary in a way that it caters to our aspiration, we really shouldn't be talking about cases stopping at the Court of Appeal or going up to the Supreme Court. I agree with a lot of the thoughts that are being put down right now in terms of the articles for amendments in the Constitution. But no matter how much laws we make, if any group succeeds in capturing those aspects of our institutions of state, they will still be able to force them into compromises that may not bring outcomes that suit our own whims and caprices as a people who seek a better country.
All right, Dr. Ononiju. All right, you talked about electoral reforms. Coming back to electoral reforms right now, Dr. Ononiju, do you really think that our Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, do you see INEC as a truly independent body And what do you think? In a case where the INEC chairman is being appointed by the president, do you really think that body will be independent? And in your own opinion, what can we do as a nation to make our electoral system truly independent?
You see, I believe with those who say Nigeria is a work in progress. It is a work in progress. And so if we discover challenges in any aspect of our national life, challenges in any institutions of state that we do have, if we mean well, if we're sincere amongst ourselves, we can bring purposes to actually correct and strengthen such institutions. You know, just like the judiciary, just like INEC. INEC is currently challenged, and that we must stamp that on. We need, as I said earlier, to make movements towards electoral reforms if we're not to force voter apathy and despair upon our people. You know, I believe, as I said earlier, Nigeria, yes, I agree, is a work in progress. But let those actors who are currently at the corridors of executing power, especially the legislatures, actually do the right thing. Let them have the oneness of purpose to actually do the best for the interests of the greater majority of Nigerians. We know it. You know, we've had the problems about the U.S. Revealing that, yes, their government did fund through the United States Agency for International Development those meddlesome violence we saw, like the Boko Haram. And then what have we done? Has there been any kind of national outrage at that landing? No, because we are afraid of offending those who may be implicated but are currently in power. And this is the things that we have to look at. The country should come first, not the interest of me if the protocols that I implemented gain me. If you gain me and undermine the country's institution and undermine the country's security, how does that go anywhere?
But Dr. Nunju, sorry to cut in, still coming to the question, Dr. Nunju, how best do you think INEC can be independent? What can we do? What practical steps can we take as a nation to make INEC truly independent? Because without trust in the electoral system, I mean, like you said, there'll be voter apathy. So what really can we do to ensure that our electoral system, the electoral, the body, the umpire is truly independent? What exactly do you think we should do as a nation to ensure the independence of the umpire in the electoral system?
Making INEC stick to its rules, making INEC to embrace its internal laws. If we make laws talking about electronic transfer of votes, let it be electronically transferred. And if INEC goes against its own rules, the judiciary should be strong enough to hold them to that content. So when the judiciary is weak, that's when politicians will tell you go to court, because they know if they go there, they'll be able to forum shop. And when they forum shop, they'll get outcomes that they desire because they have gotten the judges compromised. The way to strengthen it is strengthen the judiciary. Let it be truly independent. If the judiciary is independent, INEC will change its ways. So this is actually the problem. There are no rocket science about these things. We are not sincere with ourselves. If we are, of course, we'll get there.
Sincerity.
Strengthen the judiciary.
Yeah,
the judiciary has been the weakest point in modern times.
All right. You know, as we wind down, two of those bills for me. One is the seizure or the proposal to whittle off the immunity powers as they currently enjoy, you know, by president, the vice, governors and their deputies. And, you know, 2 days ago we had it, quite controversial. Many persons have spoken on it. But yesterday, that particular proposal was stepped down. And I need your take on that. And number two, you are somebody that is big on security. We've had you on different, this program, different times, talk about security. And now the proposal to have state police and local government police. And, you know, this means sheriffs in other countries of the world. How do you see that, you know, working for us? Two questions. The immunity thing.
That's very good.
The state police and the local government thing.
State police and local government police is good. Okay? If you go to New York you have the Metropolitan Police of New York. So that is the local government police. So the New York police is there, and they should be. Security should be an issue of getting a policeman to man your villages, man your districts, man your homes. As many law enforcement officers as possible should be allowed to penetrate the inner recesses of our geography, and that's very good. I support the move towards state police. I support the move towards local government police. And of course, it all comes to the idea of allowing the states and the local government, which are part of the federating units, as we're trying to do with our protocols in court, to actually be part and parcel of the law sharing game. Let us devolve the powers of policing to the states, devolve the powers of policing to the local government area.
Dr. Catch, so, there has always been this concern of high-handedness by state executive, and which is not going away. We've seen many of them with impunity can do and undo, especially when they have a vendetta against their perceived political opponent. How do we, cross that line and find that balance?
Those are just fears. Those are not reality. Of course, it is true. You can see Lagos State has its police. They have LASMA. How has the governor used that to damage people?
LASMA is just,
State has its police.
They are just in charge of traffic.
No.
They can't handle criminal issues.
They are not armed.
Yeah, they can't prosecute.
It's a traffic police. You also have in the north, the Hizbah as a religious police. Have they been used to hound opponents? No. So forget this rhetorics about fears that are unfounded. Let it be. Let it be. Let them have the powers to police themselves. There's nothing wrong about that. Why are we afraid of sharing power or of devolving powers to the local areas? If you can generate money from local government, why can't you devolve power to local government? If you can generate money from the states and take their money and their taxes and their resources, why can you devolve power to the states? So I don't really believe on this. I don't forget the biggest problem we've had in this country is the idea of settler colonialism. We shouldn't allow those who settle to colonize those that they met there. Allow those who they met there to also have rights to police themselves. Settler colonialism is a big problem across northern Nigeria, and I don't think that's a very good thing. Let the police be there. When they mess up, the local people will raise their voices, just like you have been right now in the north. You have a federal government that moderates the behaviors of the state and the local law enforcement units. That is the truth.
All right.
His bar has not gone crazy.
As we go today,
they do will report.
Yes, I'd like you to mention. I'd like you to talk on the issue of the immunity thing, the proposal to strip deputies, vice president, governors, and their deputies, of that immunity powers. And many persons are saying, why not the president? Why leaving the president out?
Well, these are suggestions. So it would not be proper that we start suggesting or commenting on suggestions that we've not even seen implemented, so that we don't know how it is. It is when suggestions are implemented into real actions that you can actually now look at how.
Well, now that the conversation is on, everybody should lay their thought on it. Don't you think so?
The conversations are nothing but rhetorics. When you hear them in Nigeria, most of them are not very serious conversations. Most would not sustain. Most will simply be opinions that would not see a second reading. So don't worry yourself about it. There's a lot of rhetoric.
We are not worried. We are just having this conversation. Now it gives us great pleasure to have spoken with you today. The DG, the Director General, the Heritage Center, Dr. Kachano. Thank you for your always blunt take on this program.
Thank you very much for having me. I also thank your audience for being along with us.
All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy.
All right. Yeah. Dr. Emeka Daniel.
Oh,
in view.
You're giving me that title.
In view.
Anyway, if they give me an honorary, of course, in view. Absolutely, absolutely. we have no choice than to. We have to go. It's been a wonderful Friday show. Do enjoy the rest of your day. You've been joining us on Western Spring TV, and keep joining us on Morning Spring on Western Spring television. It's Friday. Play safe and do have a wonderful weekend. Emeka Daniel is my name. Let's get jiggy. They call me Dan Ziggy. Just play safe, like I said. And we'll do the same. See you next week.
It's like you're in the mood already for the weekend groove.
Absolutely.
Actually, and when you say play safe, I wonder what that means. You might need some explanations
football,
later.
You play football,
I understand.
You wear your boots.
It's totally okay. We are saying the same thing. Whatever boot you are wearing, it's okay. Femi Ojo is my name. It's been an absolute, engaging week. Thank you for your time and your take. And of course, kudos to the production team for putting this together with us. You can have a recap of this program and every program during the week on our engaging and very interesting YouTube channel at Western Spring TV. We are also on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, even on TikTok, at Western Spring Television. Again, I'm Femi Ojo. Daniel and I are saying, enjoy the best of your weekend, but please be responsible. God bless Nigeria.